The best phrase to capture the country's mood these last 4 years, I think, is serial discontent, and it shows no signs of stopping. Joining me now is Deepak Bhargava, Executive Director of the Campaign for Community Change. Deepak, a pleasure to have you here. How are you?
Great to be here, Chris. I'm doing well.
So your group has affiliates all over the country doing grassroots work in places like Iowa and Detroit and Chicago and New York and all sorts of communities. I wonder, what are you hearing from organizers and folks who are on the ground about what people are feeling about the situation we find ourselves in?
Well, I'm actually excited. I might be the only person in Washington, D.C. these days who's excited, but there's something happening in America, and it's not the Tea Party. So we're seeing huge turnout at events around the country, pushing on the question of jobs against the radical proposals on Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, a huge amount of enthusiasm. And I think people are beginning to see that they can't depend on our elected leaders to solve these problems, that they're going to have to give them a big push. So I'm really excited. I think there's a movement coming together in America centered around jobs.
It was interesting to me. I went through the text of the president's speeches today. Essentially, he gave the same speech a few times. And it seemed much more jobs-focused than the language we've been hearing the last 2 months. He announced today he's going to have a new jobs plan in September. Do we have that sound? Do we have that sound? There we go.
I'll be putting forward, when they come back in September, a very specific plan to boost the economy, to create jobs, and to control our deficit. And my attitude is, get it done.
Was this encouraging to you? What do you think about this?
Well, I definitely think the president needs to focus on jobs, and we've begun to hear more from him about it. It has been very puzzling that even when it became clear that the stimulus wasn't going to do the job and get us as far as we needed to go, that we haven't seen large-scale substantive proposals to put millions of people back to work. And that's what I think we're waiting to see. So not small board targeted message programs, but real substantive programs people can understand, believe in, fight for, that draw a contrast, even if the other side won't go along.
Right,
You've got to stand up and fight for it.
Okay, because what I was going to say is you and I both know that anything substantive, anything bold, anything actually effective, right, is not going to have any chance in the House. So if you have an option between some small bore things, unemployment insurance extension, these payroll tax cuts, and going big and drawing the contest, isn't there some sort of practical, pragmatic argument to be made for the former?
Well, look, I think it is absolutely on economic grounds. Everyone's making the case now that in order to deal with the deficit problem, we have to deal with the jobs problem. So it's good economics. On the politics ground, if we are fighting within a frame of who cuts more, how fast, that's the wrong terrain in which to be fighting. And there's a huge untapped reservoir of popular anger, discontent, desire to see a focus on the jobs program. So yes, he would have to do some educating of the American people. Yes, he would have to take some risk. But I think the movement is there to back him up if he chooses to go bold.
Deepak Bhargava, the Center for Community Change, one of the smartest people in all of Washington, D.C. Thank you for joining me tonight. Really appreciate it.
Great to be with you, Chris. Thanks.